Thank you. I appreciate also being here tonight. Can you hear me good? Everybody hear me? Alright. I didn't make any notes or anything, so I'm just going to talk straight from the heart, I guess, and tell you a little about my life and how I came to addiction and how I overcame addiction. I guess I'll just start with when I first, got introduced to drugs. I was around 15 years old, I guess. I moved in with my mother, left from my grandparents' house on bad terms, and moved in with my mother. My grandfather, my stepfather was, I guess what you would call a farmer. He grew marijuana for a living. So, yeah. So I learned to grow weed. He taught me a little bit about it and stuff, and at 15 years old, I knew it was wrong, but it was a pretty hip thing, at the time. I was really easily influenced. I started smoking a little bit, here and there. About 6-8 months after I moved there, police showed up one day in the front yard, and I was like, the cops were out front. So he's like, man, are you playing? I was like, no, they're out front. A lot of them, they're all over out front. So he jumps and goes out to the door and comes back in. He's like, man, will you do me a favor and run out back and snatch up as many plants as you can? So, being easily influenced, here I go out the back door and go to snatching up this man's plants, trying to help get rid of these things. And the deputy sheriff comes around the side, and says, hey, stop right there, and I'm sitting there holding probably 4 or 6 foot plants in each hand, He comes up to me and just tells me to drop them, and he says, that man tell you to come around here and do this? And, no, sir. He said, well, I don't believe that. Why would you be out here snatching these up? So, anyhow, he sent me back in the house. They ended up arrested my mother and my stepfather. So I went and stayed with his brother for a few days, and my father got in touch with him, and ended up coming to get me and bringing me back to my grandparents. I stayed there for a few months, and our relationship, I just, hadn't recovered since the time I had left. So I called my other grandmother and told her I'd rather move in with her, I just didn't want to be where I was at. So that's what happened. Moved in with her and started hanging out, with a different group of people, started drinking and stuff. I ended up quitting school. I guess I was 16 years old. I talked my mother into signing the papers to let me drop out of high school. So went and got my GED. When joined college at East Central, I started there. My mother at the time had met this guy, and he was probably about 6 years older than me, so pretty cool guy. He smoked pot, drank, and that was something I was into. So I moved back in with them and began really hanging out with him. Well, he had a side job selling weed also. So I went hanging out, selling pot and stuff. They had moved a tattoo shop in out here, up out on 15 Highway, going to the casino there. And we were working out of it. I was helping on the side, making tattoo needles, and I was also helping, bag and sell weed. So we done that for a little while. A guy that worked there, he got pulled over one day with me in a truck. He was twirling a pen, I didn't think nothing about it. The cop asked him what was going on with the pen. It didn't have an end on either side of it. And he told him, I don't know, I just picked it up in the parking lot. So the cop took it, and took him in. It's considered a paraphernalia. They ran tests on it, come back to be methamphetamine inside the pen. So he had a warrant, an active warrant for his arrest. We got pulled over up here in town, and the cops come and snatched him up. And I was like, what can I call somebody to come get me, And they said, no, you need to hang around a minute, let's search you too. So they searched me, and they found a pack of rolling papers in my pocket, and well, what are these for? I said, well, I roll cigarettes, and I automatically knew it was a lie, but I stuck with that story. We reached in the other back pocket, and he pulled out a pack of brass knuckles. So I didn't think nothing about it. I got them from a friend that was going to beat somebody up the night before, trying to keep him out of trouble. And I put them in my pocket to bring them back, the next day to the tattoo shop to him. The next thing I know, I'm being handcuffed and threw in a car. Caught my first felony charge right then, possession of concealed weapon. Never been in trouble in my life. And first charge was a felony. So I got around jail, for a few days and met a few people in there and, got out, went back to the tattoo shop, still hanging out, still selling weed. Quit going to college. I was down there doing welding in East Central and hanging out more, selling more pot, getting drunk every night, just doing the teenager thing. About 3 months later, they sent me a paper in the mail that my charges had been reduced. And they were now a misdemeanor. So I was pretty excited about that. I was like, well, I ain't got to worry about going to prison. About 2 days later, a knock was on the door. I went to the door, and it was two detectives. They come in, they said, "Are you Eric Ellinburg?" I said, "Yeah." And they said, "Well, you mind lifting up your shirt?" And I kind of pulled up my shirt, but I can't get it that far now. I had a cross tattoo right here on the side. And they said, "Yeah, that's what we were looking for." They said, "You mind coming with us?" I said, "Well, sure." I'm thinking of some questions about, the previous charge that just got dropped. No problem. So I took a ride with them up here in Shelby County Jail. Walked in through the back, they didn't take me up to where booking or coming to the back. They brought me through where the sheriff's office all it is, and went to a door. The door was closed. They opened it up. So come on in. I walked in, and every back turned to me, had MBN right across it. And I'm sitting here like, man, this ain't what I thought it was going to be, So they sat down and wanted to ask me questions about the guy that my mama was seeing, and showed me a video. And the video, it showed him selling a quarter sack of weed, and I was there with him. I happened to walk in, and he had a whole pound sacked out in quarter sacks, and he happened to hand it to me. So I take it, and I, standing there, I don't know these people, I stick it under my shirt. So the next thing I know, I'm getting hit with a cell charge, less than an ounce of marijuana. I didn't know how to feel about that, but I took it. They come and got me out of jail, same people I've been hanging out with. 3 or 4 months later, they all ended up moving and running out of state. Couldn't find anybody. It was just me and Chris left, so automatically we knew we'd been stood up by the people we were selling weed for. In the meantime, I'd met a girl, and we got seeing each other pretty heavy. A couple months down the road, she tells me she's pregnant, my first child. So we did the thing, we went and got married. Her grandfather was a minister, he married us at home. About 4 months later, it come time for taking a plea, and I went and took me a plea, got sentenced to 18 months in prison. I did 13 and a half months of that. While I was in prison, I continued, the thug life, you want to call it, or whatever. I joined the gang, done a lot of fighting, a lot of everything actually in there. Didn't really have my head in the right place. I got out of there though in 2005 in July. My first daughter was about 6 months old at the time, And I just knew, I said, I'm gonna come home, calm down, I'm gonna be a father. So that was my plan. I come home. Everything went good for a while. I got a job doing air conditioning work with a fella here in town. Things were going good. Then one night I was laying in bed, and my wife, she said, "I want to tell you something." I said, "Okay, tell me anything." She drops the bomb on me that she'd been in a relationship with another fella the whole time, pretty much I was locked up. And wasn't sure, she even said, "I don't even know if this kid's yours or not." Which I never had any doubt it was my kid. She looked exactly like me. But so anyway, it kind of hit pretty hard, and it broke my heart there, First real love, we got married, I believed in staying married, I thought that was the thing you did. But anyway, I stayed with her for a few years, trying to make things work. In the process, I started back drinking. I started drinking pretty heavily, actually. I was drinking anywhere from a 20-pack or case pack every morning till somewhere around 6 at night, or now I drink anywhere from a liter to a half gallon of whiskey. I was a pretty bad alcoholic. Went over that for a little while, she promised me everything was going to be okay. She was done cheating on me. So about 2 or 3 letters later, the same thing rose. She come back, told me, hey, I'm still talking to the same guy. She said, only this time, me and him's going to be together. He's getting a divorce from his wife. And I'm going to let you stay here, for the next 6, 7 months until he gets his divorce final. And after that, you got to go. Mm. So that really tore me up, and I'd done anything to keep my family, And about 2 or 3 months later, she ends up pregnant again. We end up having another kid. I guess she forgets about getting married to this guy. He kind of just goes out of the scene. At the time then, I was working offshore, had a really good job. We had a home, 2 kids. Everything seemed to be going my way again, And wasn't very long after that, she ended up hurting her back. And they gave her pain pills for her back. So she got addicted to those. She went and said she had psychotic problems. I don't know, they gave her some kind of medicine for that. And then she wanted to lose some weight, so they gave her some kind of synthetic meth. So she's on all 3 of these pills, and it wasn't long when she was back out there cheating again. And I found out about it, so I put up with it for as long as I could. And finally one day, man, I just built so much hate and stuff in me from what she had done to me over this time. I was out washing the car one day, and I come in and I said, you know what? I said, you need to leave, I need you to go. She said, what do you mean? I said, I just want you to go. I don't ever want to see you again. I want you out of my life. So that's what she did. She left, took my kids with her. About 5 months later, come find out her and her boyfriend had moved in with her grandmother along with my kids about a month after I put her out. She caught a charge, him and her went to burglarizing houses. So I was like, man, it's going to be a really good time, to get my kids and stuff. Which, at the time I was still drinking and partying. I was having a good time. I was single. Anything I could do to have a good time, I was doing it. I started doing a little cocaine. Got addicted to that for a while. Anyway, things didn't work out the way I wanted to. She went to jail. Her grandmother had the kids, and her grandmother didn't like me at all, so she told me if I tried to come get my kids, she would call the cops and I'd go to jail, which I had no doubt she would. And she'd done that over the several few years, between me and her fighting, and I'd been in jail countless of times just because simple fact she got mad at me and her grandmother called. So I had in my head I was going to get me a lawyer. I went up here and talked to one in town, gave him $500-600, I don't know, to draw up some papers. And, just pain and just everything that was going on to me, I just couldn't get away from drinking. I kept drinking. Finally, I got so addicted to drinking and partying that I just pretty much forgot about my children altogether. I didn't even pursue, going to court. I ended up getting full custody of my children. And I wasn't allowed to see them after that. She told my family even that if she found out that they had them while they were visiting and I was around, that they would never see them again. So I went on for about like 3 years, 4 years, not even seeing my children. It's a terrible thing. I was a terrible father. I hate that every day of my life, But anyway, I kept on drinking, hanging out, partying and stuff. One day I met this guy offshore, and he was in his bike club, bike gang, I guess you want to call it, whatever, in Louisiana, our main support group for the Banditos, MC. So he's like, man, why don't you just stop in one day? You don't got nothing going on at home, man. You always tell me you're pretty much lonely, same old thing at the house. Why don't you stop in and hang out one day? What does she know? So I did. This is back in 2012. I went home with a guy. And the next time I come to Mississippi, I was packing up my things. And I moved to Louisiana. I left out on my family, my kids, everything. Just threw it all away and left and went. So I started hanging with this motorcycle club. Got pretty interested in it. They started prospecting me in. A lot of them were addicted to meth. I started using meth myself. I enjoyed it quite a lot, actually. Yeah, got to doing meth with these people. I ended up joining the club. Got so addicted to meth that I just quit my job and threw away my whole career offshore. Been out there, around 8 years. Threw everything away. Ride my motorcycle with these guys and do dope. I got so out of hand on the dope that eventually, even this club ended up disowning me. I got banned from 3 different parishes in Louisiana, fighting, different stuff I was doing. I don't want to incriminate myself in any type of way, but I was doing a lot of wrong. But anyhow, they kicked me out of this club, and there I go again. This was the only family, I knew, at the time I left my home, I left my kids, I threw everything away for this. And now they disowned me, so back in the same place. The girl I was seeing at the time, she was addicted to meth also, but she was an IV user. She shot meth up. So I got pretty interested in it. I'd tried it before, years before, but never cared much about it. But one day I told her, I said, let me get a shot at that, try it like that. So I did, and man, it blew my mind. Man. 1,000 times better than shorted up your nose, that's what it felt like. So that was my thing, man. I turned to a meth head for a very long time. Lost all sense of self-respect. Lost all weight, lost all everything. Home, car, automobile. I had left from Mississippi in an argument with my grandfather. My grandfather means a lot to me. It's like a father to me. This is my mother's father. Great man. But we left on bad terms. And I was high on that dope, man, and just started thinking about it. I said, man, I'm tired of all this hurting and stuff. I just want to hurt somebody else. So that's what I did. I came my way all the way to Mississippi. I broke into this man's house. I stole his guns. I stole his money. Stole a lot of stuff from him. I returned back to New Orleans. Of course, I don't know if they had an idea that I did it or not. I don't know. But on my way up one night from Louisiana, coming up to Jackson, Mississippi, I started selling meth at the time. I was bringing some this way. I got pulled over, and I was riding in a car that had Texas plates. So I guess that was the obvious reason they pulled me over. It was 3 o'clock in the morning, driving up 55 highway, and a car that had no airbags or nothing. I'm beating around, down the road, and they get pulled over. Well, I was so high, the cop asked me, you got any insurance on this car? I said, no, it's his friend's car. I'd memorized the girl that was with me's ex-boyfriend's social security number. I gave them the social security number, lied about who I was, they ran it and everything, they wanted to search the car. Sure, go ahead, searched the whole car, didn't find anything, man, and I'm sitting there grinning from ear to ear. The whole time, she's sitting over there nervous as can be. She was on drug court at the time, not on the run. So, he searched his car for about an hour, decides he's gonna let us go. And like I said, I was high, I was really high. I started getting back in the car, I stick one foot in and go to sit down, and I stopped myself. And I turned back around, and he turns and looks at me. I said, sir, did you ever find the insurance card, while you were searching my car? He said, no. I said, man, I probably better find that in case I get pulled over again. I said, would you mind come and help me look for it? Hold your flashlight and let me look for it.
Oh my goodness.
So that's what he did. He comes back to the passenger door, and it didn't have the outside, panel on it, just the plastic. And he kind of noticed it. I'm in a full board looking for these insurance papers that don't even exist. I know there's no insurance on this car. He shines the light over there, and he opens it up, and he said, man, that's what I was looking for. And pulls a .38 pistol out of the side of the door.
Wow.
Happens to be the one I stole from my grandfather. They run the serial numbers, comes back stolen. Uh, Figures out who I am. Yeah, off to jail I go. Neshoba County shows up and gets me within 24 hours and brings me up here on a retainer for a hold for an investigation about the burglary. I sit in jail up here for about a year or so. The father kind of reaches out to me and says, man, he said, what about going to this rehab, I know about, whatever, and we talked to your grandpa about dropping the charges. So I agreed to it. I'd do anything to get out of here. So that's what I did. Went to this rehab. It's called the Mercy House, down by the coast. Stayed there for about a month, man. It just wasn't my thing. So I told the people, I said, look, I don't really want to be here anymore. I said, either you can drive me away or I can leave walking. So that's what they did. They drove me down to Moss Point. I called my father from the rest out there and told him, I said, what happened? He sent me some money, to get home. This couple that was coming through from Florida, they just got married, stopped in there, and I talked to them. I said, would you mind giving me a ride? They said it was headed to Meridian. I got gas money. So I ended back up in Meridian. Went to stay at my stepmother's house. My dad was driving an 18-wheeler at the time, and he came home, and I stayed there about 3 or 4 days, after Christmas, and next thing I know, the police were pulling up, and he was coming off my bond. I guess he knew I wasn't going to change. The first night I was actually back at my stepmother's house. I went to the casino up here in Philadelphia. We met a guy up on Facebook that I was in jail with in Neshoba County. He picked me up and went to the casino, shot some dope up, did some meth. Just couldn't get away from it no matter how hard I tried. So he come off my bond. I went back to jail. About 2.5 months later, my mom, I wrote her a letter, kind of stressed my feelings of how I was angry over my childhood and how my parents weren't there for me, and just never hold, pull my heart out kind of thing. And she tried to kill herself over my letter, tried to overdose. So after that, my grandfather, I guess, called and told him to let me go. He was pursuing charges. He let me out. I left walking, didn't have nowhere to go. I walked from the Neshoba County Jail to a trailer park that used to be right over here behind Walmart. My mother and my brothers and sisters, half-brothers and sisters were there. So I ended up living there. It didn't take me long to fall back in. I went to selling pot again, whatever I could do to make a little money, really support my habit. Like I said, when I was in prison, I joined the gang. I got back connected with a lot of them. We started decided we were going to start a little chapter back up and stuff around here. Got it okayed through our state board, and I took over that, and rose up through the ranks pretty quick there. I had about 7 counties under me. But I had a bad problem with meth, and they didn't allow me. So we did random drug tests, from time to time within this gang, and I failed one. It came down to the time for me to be punished for failing this. I just up and skipped. I said, man, I ain't getting beat up, Heck with it. And like I said, I was pretty far up in rank with them. So I ran for them a few months, and they caught up with me. I was living with a friend at the time, and sitting there, and there was a knock at the door. Went up in the door, and it was them, about 16 of them. They come to finish the business with me, strip me out of my rank, and beat me up pretty good. About 7 of them to do that, jumped me there for about 2 minutes. I ended up suffering, crack ribs and all. I went to the hospital. Had a girl take me to the hospital. When I left the hospital, got to coming home, I hurt so bad I couldn't stand, the bumps of the road. I asked her, if you would just pull over, just take a break. It's killing me. My ribs are hurting me. So she pulled in these people's garage. Sit there and resting, and I ended up dozing off to sleep. She did also. Well, the strangest thing, man, happened. This feeling, I don't know if you've ever had the feeling, that something's wrong, something's happened, but this feeling hit me, and I woke up out of a dead sleep. I looked at the clock on the car. It said 7:18 in the morning. I'll never forget it. I knew something was wrong. I tried to wake the girl up. I couldn't get her to wake up. She'd been up on dope a few days too. When you're out, you're out. But so I lay back and closed my eyes back. Went back to sleep. I woke up a couple hours later, sweating, with the sun pouring in on us. And I shake her. I said, "Look, we need to go. I need to get home." So she goes in. My phone had died the other night. She goes in and get a phone charger, get hers off the charger. She left it in there charging all night. Comes back out, sits down in the car, and she looks at me. She's got this strange look on her face. She says, "Sweetheart, you need to call your family." I said, "What family, She said, "Your daughter is dead." Yeah, I didn't know what to think. I kind of just lost words. I was more angry that she just said this to me than anything. I said, "Let's just go." I didn't speak another word about it. Plugged my phone in, charged it. When it came on, I had so many ding, 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 ding after ding, messages, missed calls, voicemails. Please call, please call. I got home, and I made a call to my aunt. And she said, "Oh my God, where you at?" I said, "I'm at home. I've been in the hospital all night." I said, "Is it true?" She said, "Yes." I said, "What do I do?" And I felt so helpless. And I just really lost my mind, She says, just get to the hospital. We're in Jackson at the Blairey Bathroom. I said, "Okay." So I called some of the people, some of the guys that actually beat me up the day before to come give me a ride to the hospital. And I got to Jackson, and even at that moment, I didn't know. I got $2. I had a son. I have two sons and $2 actually. I didn't have a clue which daughter it was. I just knew my daughter was dead, So I walked into that hospital room, and I see my middle child laying there, the tubes coming out of her. And I just immediately went to crying. I knew it was my oldest daughter, Haley. And I really can't tell you what much happened from there. The next week or so was pretty much a blur. I turned straight to meth. I didn't know what else to do. I hadn't been talking to my family. I didn't know who to reach out to, what to talk about. So I just got high. It's the only thing I needed to do. I stayed high the whole time. All the way through her funeral. Put her in the ground. Next few days, weeks after that, or months actually, I stayed high. So I got so addicted that I began stealing and taking things, not just from my family, from other people, breaking into houses, stealing copper, anything. If you had it in your yard, it wouldn't change down, it was coming with me. The scrapyard got to know me pretty well. It was on first name basis down there. I ended up, my grandparents and them let me come move. My grandmother, my mother, had a little, kind of like a little shack set up. She ends up letting me move over there. At the time, I was completely homeless. I was sleeping in the woods across the road from my grandfather's. I told him about it. Of course, he wasn't just going to let me in his house, but he gave me money for a tent, buy a tent. I went and bought meth with it. So anyway, this was kind of, a blessing to be able to move in over here in this little cabin she had. I decided at that point, I said, man, I think I'm just going to change, I'm done with this meth. I want to be a father. I want to be a part of my children's, life, and I'm not ever going to do what I'm doing. So I was there about 3 months, and all the bad and the wrong, it caught up with me. Cops come knocking on the door again one night. Took me to jail, had me up there for I think it was a grand larceny at the time, for breaking into a house, stealing some coffee. Like I said, I had it in mind and I wanted to change, and I just didn't know how to do it. So I started praying, something I hadn't done since I was a teenager, I was told straight from God. And I said, I've tried everything else, and I'm going to try God. So that's what I did. I went to praying, and conviction just really came over me, and I talked to God for about 3 weeks there straight. I never even really left my cell. I went to reading my Bible, and I ended up giving my life to the Lord sitting right there in jail. And man, it just was a feeling was so unreal. It was like something I never felt. I was so excited about it, man. First thing I wanted to do was tell anybody I met about Jesus. I wanted to help people. I wanted them to feel what I felt, people that were in the same situation that had no hope, didn't think there was anything in life for them. I wanted them to know God, It was, man, it was an awesome feeling. So I got to talking to these people, and I was thinking, man, and I'm pretty well feeling myself. I feel like I'm on the way to recovery, man. I got God a part of my life now. I done got to reading the Bible to these people, and I started telling them, I said, man, one of these days when I get out, I said, I'd like to maybe start a rehab place or something, or a church place that for people like me, that been addicted, to have somewhere to go and stuff. Well, I guess God heard me talking to these folks. Obviously, it wasn't about 2 days later, this fella here walks in the door of the Shelby County Jail, him and Brother Chris Powell. And they go to talking about this Christian-based recovery program that they were going to start here in Philadelphia. And I said, man, you wouldn't believe it. I went to talk to him. I said, man, I had the same ideas. He probably thought at the time, a little over me. I was probably 150 pounds, and I had no weight on me. I probably no telling what I looked like, but I said, man, I said, when I get out, I said, I'd like to get up with you. We got kind of the same ideas. Maybe we can get together when I get out. So he gave me his number. I'm not sure if he ever thought I'd get in touch with him or not. But I kept my word. First night I got out, I wasn't home an hour. I found the phone. I called Barry. Told him, I said, man, I met you in jail. This is who I am. Talked about this recovery thing. I'm out of jail now. I said, I kind of like to hang out sometime, I like to change my crowd. That always been a big problem with me and my crowd, like I say, it's all in the crowd to keep you. I'm a firm believer, you show me your friends, I'll tell you who you are.
Amen.
So I got with this guy, went to help him up here. He was messing around with the Benoit Hotel at the time. And they helped him, clean that out a little bit. And they were helping me, they were giving me a little money, coming around and helping them and all. I got to share my story with a lot of people, I'd meet out here on the street and stuff. Like I said, I had Jesus, man, and I wanted everybody to have it. I was so excited about it. And so a couple months go by, everything's going really well. I end up getting a job. The Lord ends up blessing me with a truck, a camper, a lot of things, over these few months. And I'm sure y'all are thinking, a person like you, maybe how will God, continue to forgive you and want to bless you for that. The best thing I can tell you is because the Lord I serve is a Lord of mercy, and He loves me no matter what. And So he blessed me, he really did. So I continued wanting to pass that blessing along. I started reaching out to people that were like me, addicted to meth. I started bringing them up to meetings that they were having and stuff up here in town, and bring them to prayer groups and all, take them to church. Well, like I said, it's all in the crowd you keep. And at the time, I'm a recovering addict, you know, and these people are still pretty messed up on it. So I'm around it a lot now, and the old devil just comes right on back in my life. It wasn't long after that. I surrendered back to methamphetamine and going back down the same path. You know, I strayed from the church, I strayed from Brother Barry, and now become heavily addicted again. Went on a few months. Ended up meeting a girl December, I guess it was, maybe 4 years ago this year, maybe 3 years ago. That's my wife over there.
You're in trouble now.
You're
in trouble.
Yeah. But yeah, so we get together. She's addicted herself, just coming out of a marriage and all, going through a divorce. So, we get hanging out, doing our drugs together and all. I'm living over behind my grandfather at the time in his camper. And he knows I'm messed up, you know. I'm so out of hand that I'm down there in his shed, you know, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning working on stuff. He's coming out in the yard finding needles, you know, in his backyard and stuff just dropped, you know, just totally out of hand with it, you know. So he comes to me one day. I could tell it was killing him. He said, I'm going to have you to, you're going to have to move somewhere. Take the camper or whatever, but you're going to have to get out of here. It just ain't safe for you around here or for us being around here anymore. So I've always been a pretty angry person. When somebody told me something like that, being messed up on meth like I was, it angered me. It really angered me. It hurt me more than it did anything. And the only thing I could do is think about what's hurting this fella back. So, mind you, this is the same grandfather that house I had broke into years before. So one day, you know, I'm just sitting there, I'm under so much stress, I'm hurting over this and leave. You know, I'm needing money. I said, you know, I'm just gonna do this. This guy is doing it to me, so I break into his house again. Only this time, I take something close to him. It was a state championship ring he won in, I think, 1962, playing in basketball. So I take this ring and I totally destroy it. And then whatever's left of it, I take and pawn. I take his wife. Previous marriage, she was a widow when he met her. Her wedding set, her mother's wedding set. I tear them up. Anything I could do that I thought was going to hurt them, I go pawn all this stuff. It wasn't long, I get pulled over in Union, Mississippi, and they were looking for me again, you know, for another burglary. So I went to jail. A few days later, my wife ends up same cell beside us. I had brought her into the same trouble that I was in. I had made her go and take these rings and stuff she had no clue about. And I told her, you know, it was from a previous marriage. Just, you know, I never told her who it really belonged to. Had her go and pawn these things in her name. So therefore she was an accomplice to a crime that I committed. We ended up going to prison for it. Both of us did. I got 30 years. She got 28, I believe it was, for 2 separate crimes. I had a burglary with occupied dwelling and attempted grand larceny. She had a possession charge and a burglary charge. So I've been praying the whole time, you know, for a way out of this. I just knew it was going to throw me away. But God answered that prayer again with drug court. I wrote drug court a letter. Got one back a few days later, so they would consider us for one. So That's what happened. When we go to take our plea, we, being a violent crime, we weren't allowed to enter right into the drug court. We were going to have to serve some time. So we went in prison, ended up serving 2 mandatory years. On my 30s, she served 2 mandatory on her 28. We were released this previous March this year. I guess it's been 6 months, you know, give you a few days. We've been out of prison now. And while I was in prison, I just knew, even before going to prison, I said, man, if you know enough's enough, I've had enough. I was sick of myself, sick of the way I was living, sick of everything, man. And I said, God, if you'll just give me one more chance, you know, I'm gonna do this, and I won't let you down this time. And like I said, God being a God of mercy, He helped me out again, once again. Once again, He loved me. And I failed to my promise ever since then. I haven't strayed from God. I haven't done a drug in over 2 years now, 2 years and four months, I say. I haven't touched a drink or drug, no, nothing, you know. It's hard staying sober, it really is, especially when it's all you know, for going on 20 years. The main thing is a support group, you know, having a good support group. And like I said, the people you keep around you, you know, you are who you're around. I found a lot of support through the river. I moved back up with Brother Barry after I got out. And, you know, told him what all happened, you know, and asked him, you know, man, might as well come visit you again. You know? I showed up at his doorstep again, and I guess I've been there ever since. You know, I go every Friday. I sit down with this man. I'm able to express my feelings, talk about my life. You know, he gives me a hand all the time. You know, anything I need, you know, he's been there for me. He's been kind of like a father to me too. You know, in sort of ways. But yeah, since then, man, my life has totally turned around. God blessed me with a great job. 6 days after coming home, blessed me with my wife. She's still sitting here through everything I put her through. She still loves me. One of my best friends is sitting there beside her. She's been there through everything. I owe her so much. She's a really great person. And I guess I'm just kind of going on and on, man. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this off, but you know, God's amazing. He really is. And He's done so much for me. And I got a feeling that somebody out there that He wants to do something for you too. You know, just you give Him that shot, and I promise you'll never regret it.
Amen.
And I mean, like they say, it don't have to be now, it don't have to be today, but you know, even when I tell you this, you're going through loss and stuff, and it's never too late until it is. You know. Thank y'all.